Welcome back. Let's bring in the panel now. I know your time is valuable, so I really do appreciate you all being here. I'd like to just start with sort of a general reaction to my interview with Anthony William, Dr. Gorfinkel.
Well, I listened to it and I was excited for him saying eat a healthier diet, a Mediterranean diet, a vegetable-based diet, all science-based. Mm-hmm. Where I struggle a little bit is the word from God stuff. You know, I know because I can sense it and I'm a deliverer of a message. I think a lot of great medical things start out feeling with a gut sense. No pun intended with the direction we're going. They start out that way. But it needs science to back it up. We need studies. We need to look at populations. It's a lot more complicated than, sorry to say, Marissa, because I know you believe in it, drink celery juice and your problems are solved.
Well, I have to say, there is some method to that because he is helping millions. What do you think?
I mean, I agree, Iris, with a lot of what you've said. There was a lot of what he said that wasn't wrong, and it resonated with me a little bit.
Yeah,
so
it feels intuitively right.
I was surprised that that was some of my reaction, but a lot of what he was saying in terms of, you know, explaining that the liver sort of detoxifies. As a gastroenterologist, I hear this a lot, that people say, I want to, you know, I'm backed up or I'm constipated, there's toxins building up. And that doesn't make sense. That might make intuitive sense, but that's not how the body works. There's meant to be bacteria and poop and all kinds of non-sterile, you know, the gut is not a sterile environment, but that doesn't mean toxins are building up in your body if you don't move your bowels that day. So I like that I don't know that he was meaning to counter that myth, but I like that he acknowledged that it's actually your liver, and he didn't mention it, but your kidneys that filter out those toxins. What I didn't love is that he then hypothesized that that means that those toxins build up in tissues and your brain and your organs and cause problems. So that part is less scientific, but at least some of his understanding of the body made sense.
All right, well, let's get into the show. We're talking about gut health today. Why is gut health so important? Dr. Joey.
You know, I've been practicing in a gut-based practice for about 20 years, and I was always saying to my clients, you are only as healthy as your pipes, which makes sense. If you think about it, you're only as healthy as you're absorbing, digesting, and excreting. The body's an orchestra, Marissa, and so there's a spillover effect. And so that's why we're at the tip of the iceberg with research, with probiotics, with anti-inflammatory foods, with hormonal balance. When your gut is off, of course, the body, the orchestra, tips into other areas, your skin, brain health. Your gut is actually called your second brain. And we know, in fact, there is major influence from gut to brain. And so while we can help people with other areas, it would be foolish for us as holistic practitioners, as integrative practitioners, as medical doctors, not to go back and investigate the integrity of that gut.
Well, it is interesting. I mean, we hear a lot about the gut microbiome. It's become a bit of a buzzword, and I think it more of a household term in the last 5 years or so. What is it?
Well, the microbiome is a ecosystem of bacteria, viruses, yeast, fungi, and they all live in harmony. And, you know, when we, you know, through external factors, through diet, medication, stress, it can alter that microbiome. And then this is the issue that we're seeing, that many people are having altered microbiomes that end up getting, you know, chronic illness. So it's just the variety of different bacteria that we have.
So I'm just going to push back a little bit, because we're talking about, imagine the equivalent of, I don't know, about 500 New York cities put together. Yeah. You know, can we all live in harmony and peace at once? And the answer is possibly. It's a variable population that's constantly changing, and it has profound impacts on how we think, profound impacts on what we do and how much we eat. There are fascinating animal studies coming out. The microbiome cares about one thing: itself. It's basically a selfish gene pool directing what it is and how much it is that I'm going to eat.
Well, and we're learning more too, Dr. Zenlea, about the makeup of a healthy gut microbiome in an individual who's healthy versus an individual who's unhealthy. What do we know about how those two microbiomes compare?
What I'd say is that the more we learn, the less we understand. So what we've tried to do is say, let's pick a bunch of healthy people, and I'll come back to why that term is confusing already. But let's pick a bunch of healthy people and look at what their microbiota makeup is, and then let's pick a disease and see what the people who have that disease's microbiota makeup is, and let's compare them and see how they differ. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is, what does healthy mean? So just because I haven't been diagnosed with a condition, does that mean I'm never going to have it or I'm not programmed to have it? Already there's a flaw because we don't have a crystal ball. The second thing is, like, you can pick it in terms of one disease, but just because you don't have that one illness or disease doesn't make you otherwise healthy. So it's hard to define what the healthy control group is. So it's all very confusing.
But isn't it generally accepted that the more diverse the microbiome, the better? And so then my question would be, Dr. Joey, what is it about a microbiome that is less diverse that causes the disease? Or how does that causality even work?
And forming a causal relationship is extremely difficult. And forming a why is extremely difficult. And we're all talking about our food. I really think, guys, we have to look back at our soil, because our soil becomes our food. And we also have to look at the time frame when chronic illness started to elevate, when cancer started to rise. Well, what are we doing to our soil? And so that is a reflection, how we're treating our animals, how we're treating our environment, and this is a huge topic, that spills over into the microbiome. And so it is a lot more complicated than you're saying than doing a double-blind research. It's very difficult to do a double-blind research study on a bacterial microflora that doesn't have thousands, has billions of microorganisms.
Absolutely, and a carrot is not a carrot. So a carrot that's grown in my backyard is going to be different than a carrot that's grown, say, in industrial farming practices.
Well, we are going to get into that just after the break, so stay right there. We'll be right back.